Alright, back again. This time for a spooky episode. So I thought since Halloween is coming up soon, we'll do something that's sort of thematically relevant. And we're going to look at some old blues songs that have some of the darkest lyrics I could find. Specifically, things that are very violent or, like I said, spooky, supernatural kind of things. Now, a lot of people might not realize this, but these type of things is not that uncommon in blues music. I mean, of course, we all know the typical type of thing, the deal with the devil, that we have Robert Johnson at the Crossroads. So I won't be going too much into that. We're all very familiar with Me and the Devil Blues and Crossroads. We can just briefly mention Johnson talks about selling his soul to the devil at the crossroads, taking a leisurely stroll with the devil before beating his wife, as we discussed in the soap and skin video in more detail. You can see that if you want. And then, of course, you'll also find a lot of sort of passing references to hoodoo culture, right? Hoodoo practices, which is like a African American variant of Haitian voodoo, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll hear, for example, Muddy Waters gives a great example of this, where he says he's got a black cat bone, he's got a mojo too, and he's got a John the Conqueror. And that tells you a lot there already. The black cat bone, the mojo being the mojo bag or the mojo hand, which is also the mojo hand referenced in a couple of Muddy Waters songs and Lightnin Hopkins songs. But they're all just sort of, mentioned in passing. So I didn't really include many of those kind of songs. But just know it's fairly common. And then, of course, we've got the ever-present spectre of death looming in every pretty much blues song. It's a very common topic. I probably look at a few examples that talk about death in either a very descriptive or unique way, but I'm not going to talk about every single blues song that talks about death. I'm not gonna be able to hit everything. There's just too many. So if I miss something that you think should have been mentioned, you can tell me in the comments. But don't you dare talk to me about C.W. Stone King, alright? Goddamn Australians. Not interested, alright? Okay, so the first song we've got here is Oh Death by Charlie Patton. Okay, so this one, I'm just really including this because it's the most direct death song that I can think of in blues. Okay, it's kind of like he's literally face to face with the entity that is the Grim Reaper or something. So this one we'll just look at briefly. He says, "It was soon one morning when death comes in the room." He says that a couple of times. Soon one morning, death comes in the room. Physically walks in is the way I picture it. Lord, I know, my time ain't long. Oh hush, somebody is calling me. Just sets the tone, I think. Then we'll move on to another legendary track. This one, a lot more well known, I would say. This one is Where Did You Sleep Last Night? This is a more folksy blues kind of song, also known as In the Pines by Leadbelly, famously covered by Nirvana on their Unplugged concert. But the lyrics of this song, it's got a very dark sort of storytelling style to it, where he says, my girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? So when you hear that, you think, okay, she must be running around on him. Who's this other man, right? That's the initial assumption. But when he says this, in the pines, where the sun don't ever shine, I would shiver the whole night through. I mean, to me, that doesn't sound like a story of infidelity. That sounds a lot more like either she's on the run, she's hiding from something. Because who sleeps out in the pines, in the woods, in a forest? Or she's dead, and the body is hidden there. Those are the two ways that I see it. Could be one of those two. And then we've got, I don't know if this is sort of the same girl from before, or if this is another woman who is now speaking. She says, my husband was a hard-working man, killed 1.5 miles from here. His head was found in a driving wheel, and his body was never found. It's a straight-ahead murder ballad in this sense. So, to me, this is a song about people dying in the dark, essentially. They're dying where no one can see them. I feel like that's what this song is ultimately about, in my interpretation. If you feel any differently, tell me. I don't know. Let's fight about it. But I'm right. So I'm right. You're wrong. So next up, we've got Stack O'Lee by Mississippi John Hurt. Stack O'Lee is like the murder ballad. I mean, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds released an album called Murder Ballads, where, if you ask me, this is the only listenable song that they put on that album. But theirs is called Staggerly. Essentially tells the same story, though. All the variations of this Stack O'Lee, Staggerly, there's other variations on the name, but everyone who's done this song is essentially telling a similar story. And what that story is, basically, is, just some mean motherfucker. He walks through town, kicks shit, and doesn't care who it hits. That's just the way he does it. So let's look at this old classic version of the song. And I kind of want you guys to hear how the song sounds before we go into the lyrics. It's got a very beautiful sound to it. You wouldn't think it was a song about murder. It kind of sounds like a Beatles song, like maybe Here Comes the Sun or something like that. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful song. And it's great. It's like, so basically, it's this guy talking to this police officer, right? Police officer, how can it be you can arrest everybody but cruel Stack O'Lee? He says, even Billy the Lion told Stack O'Lee, please don't take my life. I got 2 little babies and a darling loving wife. And what did Stack O'Lee say? What I care about your little babies, your darling loving wife. You done stole my Stetson hat, and I'm bound to take your life. I mean, this guy's like, you took my hat, so I'm gonna kill you. I don't give a you got kids. And I mean, at least in this version of the song, Stack O'Lee ends up seeing justice. They take him to the court for killing a guy over a $5 hat, because apparently Stack O'Lee is a brokey. He's a badass who can do whatever he wants, but he can't afford a $5 hat. But yeah, they hung him, and everyone was glad to see him die, as the song says. Yeah, not much to say. It's just a great little story, sung beautifully. But the darkness of the story is in stark contrast to how beautiful the melody and the guitar accompaniment are, which is what really makes it stand out. The song itself isn't that lyrically dark, but the contrast is the reason that I'm including it. So let's move on to something a little bit darker. Now we've got Peetie Wheatstraw, also known as the Devil's Son-in-Law or the High Sheriff of Hell. So this guy, he wanted people to think that he was evil. You know, he was bad. He was like real Batman ting. This guy. So in this song, he talks about his drinking addiction. Right? It's called "You Can't Stop Me from Drinking," and I want to highlight the first verse, right, where he says, "You can't stop me from drinking. It ain't no use to try, because the way you treated me, well, I'm gonna drink until I die." That's the most raw, blunt way you could possibly say that. There's a lot of songs about drinking yourself to death, but I really don't think anyone has ever just said it outright like that. Next we've got Mean Black Cat Blues. This is another Charlie Patton song. You might notice I'm a bit of a fan. But let's look at what he says in this track. He says, "It's a mean black cat, Lord, a clawing at my door." And it's also followed up in the next one about, "It's a mean black cat, Lord, all around my bed." So this cat, scratching at his door, prowling around his bed. Okay. It's not his cat. He doesn't say it's my black cat. This is some mean black cat that's he doesn't seem to be welcoming its presence, right? Now, this is where I get an idea of what this black cat actually is. Because he says, "It's a mean black cat, Lord. I mean, it's wearing my clothes." The cat is wearing his clothes? To me, this sounds like it's some kind of shape-shifting familiar spirit, right? This cat is not a cat. This cat is some kind of entity, a spirit, an apparition, a jinn, something like that. He follows that up with, "First I met you, I said you was a crook." Okay, this is, I'm assuming, him addressing this black cat, right? And then he says, "Next time I met you, you know I made a hit." So he met with this black cat spirit, and he's like, "Nah, you're crooked. There's something wrong with you. I don't trust you, motherfucker." Spitting up hairballs and signing contracts with people. But the next time he sees this guy, he's written a hit song, He's become a famous blues singer. So what did this black cat spirit say to him? Did he have a contract with this spirit in the way that Robert Johnson supposedly did? Kind of sounds like it, right? I think that's a very likely interpretation of this one. Okay, this next one is an interesting song by a really amazing and underrated guitarist, Lonnie Johnson. And now the title of this song is crazy. I mean, there's a lot of like cheating spouse or cheating lover blues songs, but the title of this one takes the cake for me. You've got Backdoor Man, you've got Evil Going On, but in this one, he's like, the title is "She's Making Whoopee in Hell Tonight." So let's hear him out, okay? He says, "Baby, you stayed out all night long until 4:30. Baby, please don't stay out no more." Okay, so we've established this woman is running around on him at all hours of the night. And he says, "All night long, blues and worry was all I can see. Don't you know when you're out making whoopee, baby, you're killing me." Okay, simple enough. She's out there banging dudes. She's banging dudes. "You made whoopee last night while I was laying down asleep," reiterating it, that she's out there doing the hanky-panky stanky, okay, not with Lonnie, and he doesn't like it. And here's where it really takes a turn for the dark, all right? He says, "You think because you make good whoopee, baby, you can't go wrong. But the next time you make it, please carry your coffin along." That's a threat if I've ever heard one, right? these blues guys, they don't fuck around, man. Okay, and next we have one of the greatest slide guitar players, in my opinion, Bukka White. And this song is another one of these sort of very raw, direct songs about death that I just thought I'd include, even though it's not necessarily particularly violent or supernatural or spooky. He says, I'm looking funny in my eyes, and I believe I'm fixing to die. That's it, you know? That says a lot. He's he's ready. He's waiting for death. He's looking it in the face. And it gets pretty sad pretty quickly. He says, I know I was born to die, but I hate to leave my children around crying. He just says it so nakedly that it's hard not to feel for him when he says it. And he reminds you that just as sure as we live, it's sure that we were born to die. He says, so many nights at the fireside, how my children's mother would cry, 'cause I told the mother I had to say goodbye. Look over yonder, on the burying ground. Yon stand 10,000, standing still to let me down. Mother, take my children back, before they let me down. Ain't no need of them screaming and crying on the graveyard ground. And it's just such an evocative image, telling his wife he's ready to die. Uh, I'm assuming based on his. He's got a lot of songs where he talks about going to prison and doing time. So maybe there's like a death sentence on his head, and he's letting his wife know. All right, now this next song, we actually have two songs with the same title, right? But they're not exactly the same. We've got Leroy Carr singing Suicide Blues, where he says, if somebody finds me when I'm dead and gone, say I did self-murder, I died with my boots on, took me a Smith & Wesson and blew out my brains. I didn't take no poison, I couldn't stand the strain. Now I ain't no coward, and I'll tell you why. I was just tired of living, but wasn't afraid to die. Take me to the graveyard, put me in the ground. Please write on my tombstone, my woman threw me down. In my farewell letter, someone's sure to find, goodbye, old cold world, I'm glad I left you behind. It's a simple suicide note. It's a suicide note in a blues song. Okay. Let's go over a song by the same name by Peetie Wheatstraw, and let's see what he has to say. He says, my baby said she loved me, but she has took her truck and gone. I'm going to commit suicide if she doesn't come back home. I don't think I've honestly ever heard anything like this in a blues song. I mean, the Leroy Carr one was pretty like blunt too, but I mean, he said self-murder, maybe at the time that was what they called it. But to hear the word suicide in an old like 1920s blues song is crazy to me.
I'm going to commit suicide. Ooh, well, if my baby don't come back home.
And and I forgot to mention, he's got this trademark sound that he makes where he goes, hoo hoo, well. So he says, I'm going to commit suicide. Hoo hoo, well, if my baby don't come back home. Which makes me feel like he's the Logic of his time. If you don't know, Logic is this rapper who he made a song about like depression, and I'm sure suicide came up in the song too, but he had this moment where he's talking about what it's like to be depressed, and then he punctuates it with "Who can relate?" Woo! It just doesn't seem appropriate for the theme of the song, and I feel like Peetie Wheatstraw just did the same thing here. But Peetie Wheatstraw, he cultivated an image as a mean motherfucker who you don't want to be around. And Logic was supposed to be like the nice guy, you know. He was trying to be sensitive to the topic, where I don't think Peetie Wheatstraw gives a fuck about being sensitive to your feelings. Now he says, we both made a vow that we would never part. But since she left me, suicide froze my heart. I mean, again, it's just so bizarre to hear this. It's just this one word that I've never. I mean, you hardly hear it in modern songs, but to hear it in this old song is just so strange to me. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. And of course, he's hitting the who well wells. He says, "Now I love my baby, and I don't want her to stay away, and I'm bound to commit suicide if she don't come back home today." He says, when a man commits suicide, it's worry that's on his mind. And when your woman leaves you, whew, well, well, suicide is the best that you can find. I mean, the guy's kind of a simp, right? he's gonna die without this. He's gonna die without this woman. But still, it's to me, a very dark song. And let's see, what do we have next? Now we've got Black Ghost Blues by Lightnin Hopkins. Amazing blues singer and guitarist. Let's listen to this little spooky story that he's going to tell us. This is starting to get a little bit supernatural now. He says, black ghost, please stay away from my door. Yeah, you know you worry poor Lightning, so now I just can't sleep no more. Yeah, you know I go to dreaming first night. Black ghost is all poor Lightning can see. You know that's why I begin to wonder why you keeps on worrying me. I mean, the dude, he can't sleep without seeing apparitions. It's just a never-ending nightmare for this guy. Black ghost is a picture, and the black ghost is a shadow too. You just can see him, but you can't hear him talking. Ain't nothing else that a black ghost can do. It's the Black Ghost Blues. You have to imagine what would inspire him to write a song like this. I mean, I just imagine waking up in the middle of the night. I'm Lightning Hopkins right now, and I wake up in the middle of the night. I mean, he's probably got sleep paralysis, right? He's waking up and he's seeing this shadowy figure, this black ghost, and it makes him anxious. It causes a lot of fear in him, enough to write a whole song about it. Right now we've got Old Devil by Bo Carter, right? Now the thing about this is that Bo Carter, most of his songs are like never-ending innuendos. Never innuendo, innuendo. And he's just talking about warm my wiener and bananas in your fruit basket. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a song called Your Brown Eye Winked at Me or something like that. But this song is a lot more serious. This song is him talking to the devil. He says, go back, old devil, and look up on your shelf, and get you soap and water, and bathe your dirty self. Okay, first of all, this guy's got some balls to talk to the devil like that. But this is where it gets dark. He says, I beat my baby, a man with a rope and a line, until she went stone blind. He beat his woman till she went blind. And why? Because some low-down scoundrel been fishing in his pond. I think we know what he's talking about. He's talking about a backdoor man, right? He's talking about a sneaky good-for-nothing who's coming in and messing with his woman. I mean, there's not really much to this song. That's pretty much it. He's just telling you, like, I think I just got it. He's so evil that he can tell the devil, go wash your ass, motherfucker. I got some beating to do. It's probably one of the craziest expressions of domestic violence that I've heard in any blues song, and there's quite a few of those. I mean, there's Ain't It a Shame, you know, ain't it a shame to beat your wife on a Sunday, ain't it a shame? Ain't it a shame to beat your wife on a Sunday, ain't it a shame? Ain't it a shame to beat your wife on a Sunday when you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, ain't it a shame? You know? You've also got Robert Johnson, as we spoke before, saying he's going to beat his woman till he gets satisfied. But I don't think I've ever heard someone say he's going to beat her with a chain and a line until she goes stone blind. That's so rough. So rough. But now let's see what happens when a bluesman takes the opposite approach. When he kills the other man for messing around with his wife. We've got Peetie Wheatstraw, once again, the devil's son-in-law, the High Sheriff of Hell. He says, "Last night, buddy, I caught you kissing my wife. Don't you know I'm going to take your life?" Simple. He's got the gangster's blues. He says, "Boys, I am feeling mean. I'm going to take you for an easy ride, drop you off on the riverside." He's got the gangster blues. Feeling like a sleeping with the fishes kind of thing coming up here. He says, "I'm going to bound your mouth so you can't talk. Tie your feet so you can't walk." I've got the gangster's blues. "You can start your screaming, but you must give in. I'm going to tear you to pieces and put you back again." I mean, tearing you limb from limb, tying you up, gagging you, cutting you to pieces and stitching you back together. It doesn't get, that might even be worse than sleeping with the fishes. At least if you sleep with the fishes, you can get lucky. You can get lucky. Yeah, and he goes on to, shoot the guy and bury him in a prairie. Yeah, just more senseless violence. We've got one more supernatural song for the list. This is Blue Ghost Blues by Lonnie Johnson. This is probably the most descriptive of the ghostly type of blues songs. Robert Johnson had one verse in his song Malted Milk, which you can see me performing on other videos, where he says, "My doorknob keeps on turning. There must be spooks around my bed. And I've got this funny, funny feeling, and the hair's rising on my head." He's telling you he thinks there's ghosts in his room while he's drinking his malted milk. But this guy goes into more detail here. Let's see what Lonnie Johnson says. He says, "I feel myself sinking down. My body is freezing. I feel something cold creeping around. Set the stage. Nice, spooky. My window is rattling. My doorknob turning round and round. These haunted house blues is killing me, and I feel myself sinking down." I mean, can you not just picture this guy sitting alone in this house? He's clearly not feeling great. He's going into a depression, and he gets this piercing cold just like envelop him. And suddenly the doorknobs are rattling and turning. This is a haunted house blues song. This is great. This is the perfect Halloween blues song. Next thing you know, Nosferatu is in the corner, like flicking on the lights on and off. He says, "I've been fastened in this haunted house 6 long months today. The blue ghosts has got the house surrounded, Lord, and I can't get away." Oh man. Like, I imagine he probably wasn't sleeping much in those 6 months either. Can you imagine? Just every night as the sun goes down for 6 months, you start hearing a rattling on your doorknobs and your windows. You probably hear all kinds of other things too. I mean, I can just imagine there's probably footsteps in the ceiling. There's probably scratching in the walls. All kinds of creepy shit. Disembodied crying. I could go on. But let's see what he has to say. He says, "They got shotguns and pistols standing all around my door. They haunt me all night long, so I can't sleep no more." Shotguns and pistols? The ghosts? The ghosts have guns? Now, I have a suspicion who these blue ghosts might be. I don't think they're ghosts at all, actually. He says, "The blue ghosts haunt me all night. The nightmare ride me all night long. They worry me sore in this haunted house. I wish they were dead and gone." But ghosts are dead, right? They might not be gone, but they're dead. Could these blue ghosts be the cops with their pistols rattling on his windows and turning his doors trying to get in? And they've got the pistols and shotguns all around his house. That's why they're haunting him. They want to take him. They want to take him into jail, or they want to arrest him. They want to kill him. Something. So that's just a interesting one to think about. Is he haunted by ghosts, or is he haunted by the by the cops? Either way, it's a great song, and everyone should check out Lonnie Johnson if you want to hear some great blues guitar. But now we've got two songs left. The first one is an extremely raw blues track called "I'm Gonna Murder My Baby." Now let's look at the lyrics here of this track by Mr. Pat Hare, where he says, "Good morning, Judge, and your jury too. I got a few things that I'd like to say to you. I'm gonna murder my baby. Yes, I'm gonna murder my baby. Just thought you'd like to know, Judge. Yes, I'm gonna murder my baby. Don't do nothing but cheat and lie. Yeah, she left home in the morning. She didn't get back till night. She swore before her maker that she's feeding me right. I'm gonna murder my baby. Yes, I'm gonna murder my baby." Now, the thing about this song, right, is that it sounds like your standard "I'm gonna kill you, you cheating" type of blues song, right? But the difference between this one and every other uh, cheating song is that he killed the real life. Fuck. Not long after, maybe like a year or so, I think, after he recorded the song, he actually went out and killed her. So it's kind of like that. It's like a reversal on that Key and Peele sketch where it's like, "I killed Darnell and I buried his body in that whole thing." But this guy's just like, "I'm going to kill you." He's like confessing it to the judge before he's done it. So I actually haven't read up on what happened to him after that. Maybe we could do a video about that. But yeah, he wasn't playing around. Get it? Don't play no shit. He kills bitches. And then the last song we have is another example of a similar kind of thing. This is the song that made me think I should make this video, because it's the perfect example of how violence in music is nothing new. Okay, these dark themes. I mean, you've heard a couple already, right? It's death, it's violence, the devil. It's all there. There's a reason that blues and certain blues men had the reputation of, the devil's music. They spoke about things that was not considered appropriate to speak about in polite society. Very dark, taboo subjects, and they spoke about it unapologetically. You've heard them talk about beating women, and like I mentioned before, they would talk about their hoodoo, the mojo hands, the black cat bones, the John the Conqueror route. And you've heard the stories about the ghosts and the spooks and the devils, all the pacts that they've made. But this one just blew my mind because of it's so catchy, but the lyrics are so brutal. Let me read them to you. He says, "Look here, mama. Can't get along, honey. I really try to treat you right. Now when I come home from work, I give you my check, and you want to raise sand, fuss and fight, so you can get a chance to stay out all night. You left me last night at 8 going to a show, and come smoothing in this morning at 4. You even had the nerve, honey, to bring another man. Let him drive you up to my front door. Say you're through? You got all my money too? Come here, woman. Let me tell you what I'm going to do to you. Now, now this is where it becomes not just your typical, you know, cheating lover blues song. Okay, this is where it gets. I mean, if the melody of this was not so catchy, I don't think I'd. I don't know if I'd be able to stomach it. It's so vivid. So let's read through these lyrics quickly. Let it really sink in, so you're not distracted by the catchy melody. He says, "I'm gonna cut your head 4 different ways." That's already that's already pretty descriptive, right? You're gonna cut it 4 different ways, and what are those ways? He says, long, short, deep, and wide. But that's not descriptive enough. Let's put more detail into this, okay? Because when I get the spring rhythm of this rusty black handle razor, he's not even going to use a clean razor. He's going to use a rusty razor. You're going to be booked out for an ambulance ride. I'm surprised that he's even going to bother with the ambulance because she's probably going to be dead by the time they get there, right? So he says, because I'm going to cut A, B, C, D on the top of your head. That's going to be treating you nice, like mama, you ain't going to be dead. So this is still him being nice. He's cutting A, B, C, D on the top of her head. Okay? I think he means her forehead. A, B, C, D on top of her forehead. So he's going to cut E, F, G right across your face. H, I, J, K, where running bound to take place. So where her tears are going to run down her cheeks. That's where he's cutting her next. He's going to cut L, M, N across both of her arms. And then I can't quite catch the next line, but he says he's going to cut NOPQ. That's going to be trouble too, because I'm going to grab your mum and turn you every way but loose. Cut RST to hear you. He's going to cut RST, the letters RST, just so that he can hear her cry. And that'll be the last time tears run from both of your eyes. Man, it's so dark. It's like, I'm going to cut you because I want to hear you cry, but this is going to be the last time you cry. You will never shed another tear again, not because you're going to live a happy life. Okay? He's going to cut UVW on the bottom of your feet. That'll be the last time you walk up and down 25th Street. I mean, the cutting on the bottom of the feet is like a classic torture move, right? Gonna mock. Then it's like this is what he was really building up to, because he says, gonna mark across your bosom with XYZ. When I get through this alphabet, you'll quit you're messing with me. Which is crazy. And what really like wraps it up with a little bow is that at the end of the song, after this lengthy description of all the cuts he's going to give her and where and why and what the implication of that will be for her, he hits us with a little guitar lick at the end that you might recognize. What? What is this happy ass music at the end of this dark, evil song? But that's it, I guess. Beep boo doo doo doo, boo boo. It's over. That's it. What? So yeah, those are those are some of the darkest blues lyrics that I could find. Maybe next year I'll try and do more like a spooky, supernatural kind of blues lyrics. Kind of thought of this last minute and just threw it together. Ended up going more for like the excessive violence kind of songs. They were just easier to find, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's that for today. The next thing you see will be me playing some guitar for you. Not quite sure what I'm gonna play yet, but we'll find out. So yeah, if you enjoy that, like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Let me know if you wanna hear about other kinds of lyrics. Maybe I can do like raunchy blues lyrics, or I don't know, just bizarre blues lyrics. We could maybe make this like a little series. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm done yapping. I'm sure you need to cleanse your soul after that. Sorry for sorry for inflicting you with all this darkness, but I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver all night through. My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver the whole night through. Her husband was a hard-working man, killed a mile and a half from here. His head was found in the driving wheel, but his body never was found. My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver the whole night through.